welcome back to my channel. This is Ajoa again, and thank you so much for being here. Fragrance World as a perfume house is one that I really enjoy. I appreciate them for their affordable dupes. They are mostly duping other fragrances, and they are one of the cheapest houses or fragrance houses I have ever come across. I don't think I have bought any fragrance from Fragrance World which has cost me more than $15 or $18. Most of them are 15 or 20 and below, so they are very, very affordable. They try to dupe a lot of these designer, niche fragrances, and if there is one thing I do not like about them is the fact that they copy the bottles and every single thing, the writing, the font size, the font itself, the indentations. They try to copy basically everything, the boxes, the shape of the bottles and everything. And I think sometimes it's a bit extreme, but that is their house style. So and people also like it because they feel like they have something close to the original that they are trying to buy. The fragrances themselves also are quite good. Most of them are quite good. They sort of give you a true reflection of what you would get if you are supposed to buy the original fragrances. So these are some of the reasons why I like them and some of the reasons I also do not like them. So today I have this bottle-less fragrance recommendations I'm coming to make. Most of my fragrances I have with me back in Ghana, and I'm currently not in Ghana. I'm currently in Columbus, Ohio. So I it's quite difficult trying to do reviews without these bottles, but I hope you bear with me. I'm just coming to share my experience of having these fragrances, the ones that I feel are great and the ones that I feel you can just do without them, or you try to avoid because they are not like worth the money, although they are cheap. So the very first one I will recommend to you is Fragrance World Suave. So Suave is inspired by Dior Sauvage, and to me it is one of the better offerings from the house. Suave is supposed to be a masculine fragrance, has this Dior Sauvage barbershop blue fragrance, and it's marketed towards men, but I think it's a great offering from the house. It is quite a good a good dupe. It has about 80% resemblance to the original, although it comes off a bit not blended too well. I think for the price of Suave, I mean, there is absolutely nothing to lose. Even if you don't like it, you can always gift it to someone who is younger, and that person would appreciate it. So the next range of fragrances I'll be recommending is the whole MFK dupes that they have, that Barakat line. Most of them are quite good. I have the Barakat 540, the original. I've tried that, and I actually have the bottle. And for me, if I did not have other dupes of Baccarat Rouge, which I prefer over the Barakat, I think I would have appreciated that better. It is a good introduction to the fragrance. It gives you like a sort of true representation of the original fragrance at like a price that is like less than $15. So it's one that you cannot complain. It's a bit rough around the edges, but it will give you that Baccarat Rouge vibes that if you have not tried that fragrance before and you just want to know how it smells. So that Barakat, the original, I like. They also have the Barakat Parfum d'Estrade, which I also like. It's also quite good. Then they have the Barakat Satin Oud, which is also very good. Had it not been that I already have the Ministry of Oud's Satin Oud, I think I would have picked up the Barakat Satin Oud because it's quite good. Most of them are not blended so well, but they are quite good for the prices. So I'll recommend those the Baccarat dupes and the Oud Satin Oud dupe. The other ones, I'm not too sure. Some of them are quite new. I've tried them, but I didn't really like a lot of them. But those three, the first Baccarat, the Estrade, and the Oud Satin, those three I highly recommend if you can just get your hands on them. The next one I will also highly recommend is Dolores. Dolores is supposed to be a dupe of Marc Jacobs Decadence, and for its price, it's quite a good one. I have Kismet and Dolores, and they both have similar scent profile. They sort of have that YSL tuxedo and what's the name? Marc Jacobs Decadence vibes, both of them. But Kismet is a little bit expensive than Dolores. You can get Kismet for around $30 to $40, whilst you get Dolores for 15 or 12 $15. So if you are new to these whole fragrances and you don't want to really spend a lot of money on them, I think between Kismet and Dolores, I would recommend Dolores for anyone, especially for women. And I also recommend the Kismet, for men, because that is more of like marketed towards men in a way. But they are both unisex fragrances. But I think Dolores is the one from Fragrance World. It's a good offering, and that is also one that I would highly recommend. So one other that I will also highly recommend is Shalina Exclusive, supposed to be duping Delina Exclusive. I have that bottle and it's so amazing, so lovely. You get that incense in it, that rose, that lychee, rhubarb, whatever it's supposed to have. It has everything in it. It's I've been told it's like 90% similar to the Delina Exclusive, and it's worth every penny. If there's any of them that you really really want to try out of these ones, just try Shalina Exclusive, although all of them are quite good. So I'll highly recommend these ones. Shalina Exclusive, I picked that one for around 13 or $12. It was that cheap. So I think it's one that I'll also give a thumbs up if you are looking for a Fragrance World fragrance. In the same direction, that whole Ophelia line, the Ophelia Legend, the Ophelia Intense, Ophelia Onyx, those are amazing dupes. It's one of my favorites, fragrances from Fragrance World, that whole Ophelia line, I should say. And they are duping these Paco Rabanne Olympia fragrances, the Olympia original, the Intense, the Legend, the Onyx. They are duping all of them, and surprisingly they got that range like spot on. I'm really impressed when it comes to Ophelia and its flankers, I should say. So if you are on the hunt for a true replacement for Olympia by Paco Rabanne, try any of the Ophelia line by Fragrance World. They are all quite good, and I really highly recommend them. So I know everybody knows this fragrance, and which is Weekend's Berry. Weekend's Berry is like one of the the earlier offerings of Fragrance World that I got to know, and it's basically everywhere. It's one of the most affordable, widely available, always available, and it's a fun, fruity, berry, girly scent, and I smell it all the time on people, and I like that scent. It's one of the first offerings I ever tried from Fragrance World, and I like that fragrance. It's comparable to any designer smell, any designer fragrance along the lines of let's say Jessica Simpson's Fancy. They are not the same thing, but it gives you that sweet that sweet tooth sort of pink sugar kind of smell. It is so long lasting as well, and it's so cheap. So if you're a girly girl and quite young, you want to buy something for a teenager or even for adults, Weekend's Berry, and they have the other flankers now, and I would just highly recommend those that line, because it's quite a good offering from the house. So the next offering that I will highly recommend is Mocha Wood. This has been known to be in the direction of Rose's Vanille, whilst others have also compared it to Hero by Boadicea the Victorious. It has that rose, vanilla, hazelnut, cacao, tonka bean, vanilla, sweet, smell. And it's also marketed as a unisex scent. I like that fragrance a lot. It pulls off sweet. It has, it has some some character to it. It's not like just a normal sweet offering, but it has some character, and that is one of the reasons why I like mocha oud. And I think it's a great offering by the house that once you spend your money on, you're not going to regret. Cocktail Intense is one that I have heard so many good reviews on. Personally, I have not tried that, but I've heard it from nurses that I trust, from like C Chronicles. She has really praised that fragrance, and I think it's one offering that if you are looking into getting, as compared to Camera, which are supposed to, the Camera and Cocktail Intense are supposed to be dupes of Angel's Share, but Camera is a lot more expensive, although it's affordable. It's on the higher side as compared to Cocktail Intense. So if you are looking at your budget and you want something in that family, that Angel Shares family, I would highly recommend Cocktail Intense, based on the recommendation of C Chronicles, because I trust her nose, when it comes to a lot of these Middle Eastern fragrances. So it's one that I will also recommend if you are looking for that Angel Share DNA, but like 1% at 1% of the price. So now I come to the ones that I would not highly recommend, although like to each their own. But if you ask me to save you some money, I would just say just avoid these three in particular. The first one is Mon Gracious. I don't know if that word is, I'll put it up here, but it's supposed to be duping Mon Guerlain by Guerlain. And that fragrance, when I tried it, honestly, I did not like it. That fragrance is just too much, for me, for whatever it is. I don't know if it's like an overdose of lavender or overdose of orange blossom, whatever it is. It's like too much. It's not blended well. It comes off as too, I don't know, like to my nose, I didn't enjoy that fragrance. Although it's cheap, I'll still not recommend it unless you really, 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 it gives you just a little, it has that Mon Guerlain DNA, but not like exact. There is an overdose of something in it that makes it quite annoying to me. So it is not one that I would recommend, but I mean, it's very affordable, so you can always try. The next one that I also not recommend is Rose Midnight, which is supposed to be Rose Midnight, supposed to be a dupe for Lancome's Midnight Rose. That fragrance is not a bad fragrance at all. It's not a bad fragrance, but I think it's just too simple, too ordinary. You can do without it. It's a rose powdery scent. It is not even a good representation of what it's supposed to dupe, except for the bottle. The bottle is like a spot-on dupe of Lancome's Midnight Rose, but the scent itself, it's not. It's so generic that you don't. It might not do a lot for you. So that is the only reason why I will not highly recommend that fragrance. The last one I would not also recommend is called Ace, and this is supposed to be a dupe of C. So they just changed the letters SI to IS. It's just, that is how much of a dupe that they intended to. That is how far they intended to take the name and the bottle and everything. But that fragrance I bought, and I had an intention to review, but I did not enjoy it. I didn't like it. I was put off by that fragrance to the extent that I didn't even want to review that fragrance. I was like, what is this? But I mean, it's cheap. You can just grab it, but I would not recommend that Ace, because Ace isn't Ace is just too much. It's too off. For whatever reason, it doesn't remind me of C. It's just like, to me, it's like an afterthought or something. I guess did something and just threw it in the bottle, and okay, let's give it a name called Ace to make it look like we are trying to sell C and C by Armani. And I was like, no, this one, fragrance world, I don't agree with you on this one. But so these are the three that I will not readily recommend. But the other ones that I have previously talked about, those ones are the ones I either have in my collection, or I have most of them in my collection. Actually, it's just one or two that I have tried a couple of times and I really like them, that I do not have in my collection. Those I highly recommend because they are great value for your money, and most of them give you that they are inspired by those fragrances, so they give you like between 80 to 90% resemblance of the original. And I think if you are on a budget, these fragrances will suffice. They will just give you the whatever you are looking for in the original. So these are my thoughts and my recommendations, and my what I feel you should avoid when you're buying some of these Fragrance World fragrances. That is all I have for Fragrance World, and I hope it helps you in making some decisions and saving a little money. And I'd like to say thank you to all of you for joining me, and I hope everybody stays well. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and just share your thoughts, comment on these fragrances if you have any of them. Recommend what you think I would also like. I'm here for your comments and your recommendations. So thank you so much, and I'm glad you joined me, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.